All right. All right, this is Natalie, and you are listening to the Mental Money Podcast. Thank you for coming back. If you are returning, if this is your first time here, then I'm glad this is your first experience, because then you get to hear from other people who have gotten to not only work with me directly, but experience a podcast. And if this is your first time here, go back to the other 3 episodes, because there is an entire series about the funding formula training, and that will give you insight into how you can use the strategies that are outlined to help you with your funding goals. Today we have with us Larresha. I don't know if you want me to say your last name, so I'm just going to say it first.
This is Risha Brown, Skin by Ree.
Okay, Skin by Ree. So perfect place to start off. When we first met, we met online.
Yes.
I was compelled at the time to give away a spot in the funding formula training, right? And you were one of the women that I reached out to, very approachable, which is great as a business owner, right? Very approachable, open to communication. We talked for a while. The first iteration, thank you for your patience, because the first iteration of the training looks very different than it does now.
Yes.
Yeah, very different. So you were very patient with that process, and I got to know a lot about your business and your goals. So if you don't mind, could you share a little bit about what industry you're in and what your business does, or what problem you solve, rather?
Yes, of course. Well, I'm kind of like I talked to you before, or we spoke about before. I'm kind of in a transition, almost like a pivot within my business.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess the main part is the beauty industry, skincare, makeup, and things like that. But then the pivot comes in because I have been dealing with some issues that, small business owners deal with when, trying to start and maintain and scale a business completely on your own.
Right.
So I decided I spent thousands of dollars on getting, the knowledge and the business side of things. So why not pour back into my community?
Right.
Because like I was telling you, this is the only industry I've been in. Straight out of high school, I went straight to MAC Cosmetics, and I've been in the beauty industry ever since. So just helping and kind of giving back, kind of like what you do with the grant formula program and the trainings. It's giving back to a community that you love so much. So helping them with their businesses and things like that.
Okay. So speaking of, okay, so then what did you learn in the training that kind of helped you make it through some of those things that you were facing during your transitionary period?
Well, I think the biggest part that I kind of took away from it was me really learning and honing in on who my target audience is and who I help. Because it's so easy to say, oh, I'm in the beauty industry, I do facials and makeup. But what if I only work with this type of skin versus this skin? What if I specialize in this versus that? And it's just teaching you how to narrow it down so you can speak directly to your, community, your target audience. So I think that was the biggest lesson learned. And it's helping me take those little baby steps to grow my business.
Okay. What was the hardest part?
I think the hardest part, and you may chuckle a bit, but the hardest part was, I guess, it's the hardest, but the best part is like when I do, like when we work together one-on-one and you help me with writing the grant and you're like, well, this is good, but it can be better. So do it again. And it's like learning to go in depth and give enough information to where if I do submit the grant, they're like, oh, yeah, I love what she's trying to do. She's trying to help these people do this, that, and the third. And I think the hardest part, to put it simply, is, I guess, condensing all of the information and making it readable.
Yeah.
Or making it make sense with like the percentages and the facts and things like that. So I really thought that was hard. I was like, man, because I think we had to re-edit my first draft like 5 times.
Yeah, I remember. But you know what? Like when you got it, you got it. And I remember that. Like you nailed it and it was perfect. I'm surprised you didn't say the financials. Everybody has a hard time with that.
I think because I'm me running a business, me running a business, um, it's, I guess, running the business, the financial part, me having to, I guess, run my own numbers, it
Right,
wasn't as bad
right, right.
because I was already in the process of me looking, like researching on YouTube and things like that, like grants and funding and, working out my own numbers.
Right.
But, working with you in the formula, in the training, it was more so of you presenting that to me, you going through it with me. And I'm like, okay, now that makes sense when I watch these videos on YouTube and things like that.
Okay, got you. Understood. All right. So, what would you say your competitive advantage is now that you know what you know and you understand that you're going to be playing against other businesses that might try to either take your innovations or wipe you out of the market? So, how are you going to keep innovating in a way that keeps you at a competitive advantage?
Mm, that's a good question because
Mhm.
I haven't thought about that one before.
Okay.
But I think to stay ahead of the curve, stay up to date with new trends and information that's coming out and things like that. And also, I think a big part of it is to reach out and work with other people in the industry,
Mhm.
to continually grow the community. So it's like I want to hone in on my community. So it's kind of like the Beyonce fans, even though I know I'm not Beyonce,
I
it's
know.
like it don't matter what that lady put out,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's variations of things that have already been done, and some of it is new and innovative, but it's like her community. No
Mm,
matter what she does, it's the community
right.
that kind of keeps everything growing and progressing forward.
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay. So when you did your projections, did you find anything interesting in your financials when you were doing mapping out like the future of what your business might look like financially?
Yes, of course, a lot of things because when I did that first round, that first draft, I was like, because remember you told me that if it's not matching up, certain parts are going to show red, like negative.
Hmm.
I was like, something's not adding up here, And so it kind of inspired me, or I guess really pushed me to really keep a detailed list of money coming in, money going out,
Yeah.
really budgeting and really knowing where it's coming from and where it's going and how it's being distributed.
Mm.
So yeah,
Okay. Did you
because
change?
I was like,
Yeah, I know. I
hmm?
bet it's that happens all the time. It's probably one of the parts where people realize that they need to change their prices or that they're not going to be
Yes,
profitable or that they're pretty much getting funded to survive versus thrive,
yes.
move forward and thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to
Mm-hmm.
ask you, did you find that you had to change your prices at all?
Yes, a little bit of a price increase for the facial side of my business. But I could do for I would say maybe a small percentage increase for my makeup side because that's mostly what I do now that I'm, growing my facial side of my business.
Right, right.
But most definitely to increase if I want to get out of survival mode for my
Mhm.
business.
Right. So how much did you increase it by? What was it before, and what did you end up charging for now?
Well, I implemented more packages for
Okay.
the facial side,
Good. Okay.
and like I was low. Like for like let's just say a hydrating facial,
Mhm.
$80 versus if you go to a lot of other spas, it's like 120 to 160, even $200, depending on, what you're getting and how long it is. So I
Mhm.
really had to look at how much product I'm using, what devices I'm using, take into consideration any training that I've had,
Mhm.
to pay off like my schooling and things like that. And I had to really, so I went from like the 70 to 80, 90 mark
Mhm.
to 120 to 250 mark
And your clients are
for
still
my pricing.
and your clients are still willing to pay that based on the quality of service that you provide.
Yeah, I think I've been, blessed enough to have, even though my clientele is very small, to have more loyal clients,
Yeah.
those clients that will follow you, regardless of where you go. So I think that's good. So I just really wanted to build onto that and
Okay.
expand that.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. All right, good. I like that. You nearly doubled your price. That makes me so happy. You nearly
Yeah.
doubled your prices. Okay,
Yes.
that's music to my ears. I love that. Okay,
Hmm.
good. All right, good. Okay, so let's talk about pricing analysis for a second. So you said that you went through the exercise, you accounted for all the different things that went into your product. Was this an exercise that you'd ever done before or even thought about? Like when you started your business, how did you set your prices?
Well, I did a little bit of market research because I am in Royal Palm, so I'm in a small town in well, not small, it's kind of big, but I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida. So I was virtually looking at some of the other spas, and even though I've done a pricing strategy before, it was for makeup.
Mm,
So, my prices with makeup were always, well, for the last year and a half, it's been like the 125 mark. So
mhm,
for facials, it was completely different. So I'm looking at it like, oh, okay, well, if they're charging $100 for this facial, maybe I can do like 90 and get more clients. But that's actually not
no,
a good idea because they're going to look like, okay, well, you're cheaper, she's more expensive.
right.
What you got going on? Because you're not about to mess up my face, and all and stuff like that. So I really had to kind of sit down and think like, okay, long term,
Mhm,
I don't want to be struggling until I, get like 20 to 40 clients a month. And now I want to raise my prices, you
mhm,
know. I have to start somewhere that would put me in a comfort zone,
right,
but also allow for me to grow and scale.
right. No, that makes sense. Okay. All right. What else stood out to you in the training that you either didn't know before or that you found really useful going into it?
Um, the different strategies, so like the SWOT, and the pricing strategies, even though I kind of did the pricing strategies, but specifically the SWOT, I know of the SWOT analysis, but I never thought to implement it for my business. But to really be able to sit down and analyze my strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities, and things like that for my business,
Right.
not just the facial and the makeup, but for the branding and the marketing side of my business, to really know what I'm good at, where I can grow, and things like that. I think that one was a really good, strong one
Mhm.
for me,
Okay.
and I really like that one.
Okay, good.
I
Have you
said I wanted to take my time with that one. I wanted to make sure.
yeah, that you move as many opportunities to
Hmm.
threats to opportunities and then weaknesses to strengths. Yeah, I feel that.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that's great. Have you gotten to the TOC section yet?
No, no,
Okay.
I haven't gotten there yet.
I'm interested to see what happens when you get to the exercise where you have to go through theories of change, where you're talking about, yeah, the impact that you're going to have and measuring that impact. I know one of the things that you were talking about was the fact that you want to provide a product that, or create a like a combination product for your facial clients or for the clients that come for aesthetic services, right? So
Hmm.
can you talk a little bit about the impact that you want that product to have on the community that it'll serve?
So of course, with the skincare side, a lot of people, I guess, with normal skin or what they deem as okay or more perfect skin, they don't understand the emotional battle that people with more severe, mild to severe skin conditions have to go through.
Right.
Like even me with my own particular bout with cystic acne, you know, I was still working at MAC, but I had to do a full face of makeup every day. And if you have breakouts and things like that, it seems like it enhances that. So like throughout the day, I personally would feel like, oh my gosh, this person is staring directly at my acne. You know, they don't see me, they just see the bumps and the skin condition. And, you know, it kind of made me feel gross, and it made me not even want to put on makeup or leave the house. And that was my bread and butter, you know? So if I felt that way, I know other people feel that way. And you have millions of people, you know, that suffer from that same condition and even more severe skin conditions. So it's like to put together packages based around, and not even just the packages, but working with dermatologists and doctors and specialists and things like that, so they really can feel, well, one, know that it's not your fault, there's nothing wrong with you, but your feelings are justified, and to formulate a package as well as working with a professional to let them know that, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you work on your skin so you can get that confidence boost, so you could increase productivity, like we were talking about, and things like that, to really help them get into a better space mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah, that's awesome, because we know funding is not just
Yes.
about what you can do for you, it's also about what you can do for others. So I love that you
Others,
like
yes.
nailed down that impact that you're going to have on someone's like
Mm-hmm.
overall. Yeah, that's awesome. And you're articulating it. Yes.
Yes, from this program, because at first, I'm pretty sure you can attest to this. As you can hear, I'm a Southern woman, so it's like I'm straight to the point. I'm like, well, I like this and I like that, and you're like, no, you have to be more in depth. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I like about it? How do I go about articulating how I help people? So that was a really great part, or is a great part of the program. Because if you don't know before, you most certainly gonna get it when going through this training.
Yeah, no, for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about the language of money, right? Because as you know now, there are certain things that you have to say in a certain way, framed and formatted, so that people can really understand what your business is and who you serve and all
Mm-hmm.
those things, right? What would you consider the language of money to be? Like, how would you define it?
Hmm. I would define it as,
No wrong
I
answer.
would define, hmm?
There's no wrong answer. I just want to know, like, based on what you know now and what funders are looking for, like, how would you, if you had to explain to somebody else, like, this is how they speak, like, this is how they
Mm-hmm.
communicate with each other, how would you describe that?
I would describe it as, you know, one, speaking in terms of who you can help and how you can help them, not just them, but how can you serve a community? Because like you said before, you can't just go into it with a scarcity mindset as if it's like, okay, well, I need this money for my business,
Mhm.
because it's not going to work that way. You could go get a loan if you really wanted some money for your business, but you want funding, you want capital, you want something that can help you scale and grow your business. So how can you help others? You
Mhm.
know, like you said, it's not free money. You're going to have to show exactly what you put in the grant.
Yeah,
You're going to have to show how you're, you know, putting that into action.
right. Okay.
So, mhm.
Got you. Got you. Okay. So is it safe to say, based on everything you know and all of the experiences that we've had in this training, working one-on-one, working with a group, learning, being in the community, going through the course material, that this is something that you would recommend to others? And if you would, who do you think it's good for?
Well, most definitely, I will recommend it to others. I've already been recommending it to others. In fact, I talked with one of my clients, you know, for the business side, or the branding and marketing side of my business, which she's looking for funding. So I'm going to put you in contact with her. But I feel like this training is for literally anyone. You know, if you have a business, regardless of what industry you're in, you know, granted, some industries are more, I guess, touchy than others.
Yeah.
But you know, if they follow you on TikTok
Mhm.
and Instagram, they're going to see like how you talk about the different industries and things like that. Even like, I think one and this kind of tripped me out. I think it was the one where the lady was making some type of rings.
Oh yeah, the jizz jewelry.
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, what? And you was
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, she can even get funding for her business. So really it's any business. As long as you have a community you can serve,
Yeah.
any industry.
Yeah. No, for sure. Thank you.
Some industries it may be stronger than others,
Mhm.
but it's always an opportunity there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for that insight. Um, I
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you as far as like funding. It's not, I don't think it's agnostic. I think this training is funding agnostic. Some of them do, like some industries, like for example, real estate, it's really hard to find funding for, especially if you're not like in the nonprofit sector. But yeah, I think it's something that definitely a lot of people can use. And you are in beauty. Um, who else? Rosalind is in education. Shelly's a
Hmm.
pharmacist. Jolena is in, what is she doing? She's in beauty too, but like with like products. She makes products. Sharita's
Hmm.
in I like Charbonnet's and lifestyle. So there's so
Hmm.
many different industries that are involved, and I'm
Yes.
starting to love that like there's so many touch points, but people are still
Hmm.
getting it. So yeah, thank you for mentioning
Yes.
that.
Hmm.
Is there anything else that you would want participants or people thinking about starting that they, let's say somebody's on the fence right now and they're just like, oh, I don't know if this is
Hmm.
for me. This is going to cost too much money. I'm not sure. What would you tell them right now to either determine whether this is a good fit for them or to make whether this is going to take their decision over the end?
Well, the first question that I would ask them is, do you really want this business? Because it's going to be hard work and you're going to need help.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, this is a side hustle, well, then you have your answer. If
Right.
it's something that you want to grow to, I guess, your whatever their version of their ultimate,
Right.
height,
Right.
then I say invest in your business. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Because even if you don't get a grant this year, you still have the knowledge and the tools to then turn around and write this amazing grant that
Mhm.
could possibly get you $100,000, $200,000
Right.
for your business.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. It's investing in your business is never a wrong
Right.
answer. Like you can't go wrong with that. Whether it's you feel like it's too much money, like me, if I you came we crossed paths at the perfect moment because I told we had this conversation. I was this close to just throwing in the towel saying, you know what, I don't care. But then, I seen your video, and I scrolled, seen another video, and I was like, you know what, let me go on her page. And so I just went through watching videos, and by like the third row, I was like, follow. And then just so happened it was, I guess, the 400th follower, and I ended up getting the entry to the cohort in
Yeah.
the training.
Mhm.
So it's like, even if not, and I came across your profile, I would have still followed and I would have still binged your content.
That's
And
so
then eventually I would have got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm going to do what I need to do to get this money so I can get into this training because it's something that I need for my business. Because I don't just have makeup and skin, I also have the beauty. So I have different sectors of my business that all can use
the same fun
help from the
formula.
training.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just going to be for one different thing. You can take this formula and everything that you learn from this training and really apply it to, again, any industry. So if you stop, like for whatever the case may be, I stopped loving the beauty industry
Right.
and I decide I want to go into trucking or something like
Right.
that,
Yeah.
or teaching.
Mhm.
I could still take that same information and get funding for my business.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I think that's like really amazing what you're doing with the training because like we talked about this. It's so much, I guess, iffy information out
Oh,
there.
no, don't be cute. Say what it is, Larresha. Put
It's
it
some
out.
bad advice out there.
Okay, all right. That's all.
Because they were telling me that, hey, because you're not for profit and you don't have a charity and things like that, you're not going to be able to get that much funding or any funding. So I was like, well, these people are saying this, but
No.
then I see her content and she's more in depth. So it's like, Jesus, if it's a sign, it's a sign.
Yeah, no, right? No, so yeah, about that, right? Like, so just for clarity for anyone who might have come across that bad advice and information too, funding is funding. Nonprofits do get funded more often because of how they're structured and like, the hooplas and
Mhm,
hoops that they got to go through. But and because how they receive contributions, there are depending on what state you are, there's certain rules, how to fundraise, blah blah blah, right? So there's a lot of different things that's why funding is more widely available to nonprofits. But
mhm,
I'm working with a bunch of for-profits that have done six figures easily.
mm,
No, with no, they're for profit work. And mind you, you can do strategies, right? You see a nonprofit, you have this information now. Tell them, hey, I'll partner with you on this. I know you might, let me see if you have this hole I can fill for you as a for profit. This is a nonprofit opportunity, but I'll apply for you, right? And then you ultimately will patron my business as the for-profit arm, or we can do a teaming agreement or something. So there's so much strategy that can go behind it.
mhm,
You have to I started a nonprofit because I wanted to, but you don't have to. You could definitely get funded as a for-profit. So I'm glad you actually mentioned that, because that's something I'm still
mhm.
trying to break down for people. Like, no, you can do this. It's for-profit. Like, don't worry about it. Blah blah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm,
Some of the even like there's a $50,000 application we went through recently where
mhm,
um they were asking for all this information, like the assumptions. They were asking for like a breakdown of your costs and all that other stuff. But it was for-profit organizations, and they were just looking for organizations that have the ability to scale and can demonstrate that, right?
okay.
So, yeah,
Mhm,
so the money's there. It's out there. It is. It's just you just gotta know. Don't take bad advice.
mhm.
Keep following me.
Right.
I got you.
Yes, because that bad advice will put you in a hole.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I believe in divine timing. So I'm glad that you came
Mhm.
across when you did. You decided to like,
Yes.
because that end up benefiting you at the end of the day, right? So
Yes.
yeah, I'm glad we crossed paths. I love what you're doing. You
You.
are clearly an expert in your field. Look at your face.
You.
Girl. Okay. I need some
We'll
points.
work together. We'll
Yeah.
work together one day.
I need
I'll do your makeup for when you get on the Forbes.
you see, I like that. I like you, bro. See, I like you for some
Do your
reason.
makeup. I'll fly to you. We'll have like a girls' day, and I'll do your makeup for when you're on the cover for Forbes.
You heard it here first. That's it. On the cover of Forbes.
Hmm.
I receive. I receive it.
Right.
All right. So yeah, thank you, Larresha, so much. I'm gonna be sure to link all of your branding, your brand related materials in the bottom. So if anyone wants to know more about your company, what you do, the impact that you had,
Hmm.
and watch you grow and watch you get funded,
Yes.
and watch you take this journey, I would love for them to follow you. So I'm going to make sure to leave your information below. And thank you so much again for joining me today. I really appreciate you sharing your insights for others to make a buying decision.
Thank you for having me. As always, I told you for everything that you've done for me thus far, with no strings attached, no stress, no fret, like that. I'm gonna ride for you.
Thank you.
I promise you that.
Don't make me cry on my own podcast. That's hella
Don't cry.
disrespectful.
I'm just
I
telling the
can't do
truth.
this right now. I can't do this. Okay.
I'm just telling the truth.
I appreciate you. I really do. Like it. This is what I do this for, because
Mhm.
we don't have to struggle through our businesses. You don't have to be on the brink
Yes.
of quitting. Like you don't have to. All you need is a little bit
Hmm.
of information and that push, and you'll be fine.
Hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Lily. Of
Thank you for having me.
course. Okay.